Last month, I asked you to keep one of our residents in your thoughts and prayers. Catherine Taylor was sick at the time. She passed away recently. I would ask you to keep her family in your thoughts. And at the same time, if you get a chance, drop a card off or reach out to Sandy Schaefer, Blackie Payne, and Pansy Lockhart, who have had some issues and health problems. And how's your mom doing, Chris? She doing better?
Well, I want to say that I just want to commend your public works guys. I used them a lot in July, and they were very prompt, and they were tremendous help in getting some things moved that had to be moved, and we actually cleaned up some other places in town in the process. So, but thank you for that assistance. That was a big help.
Not too bad living in a small town.
Absolutely not.
So, but you know, if you hear somebody that's not doing well or not under the weather, let us know. And the reason I ask you to do that is just like he just said, and we've talked about this before. Yeah, our public works guys, they do all the work and all the dirty work in town, but they're also out there, and they see these folks, and they know these people's routines, and they know that if something's amiss, something's not right. Just yesterday, they had Wendy call the sheriff's department to do a well-being check because something wasn't right. You know, and I've got a 90-year-old aunt that lives right up the street. They know that she's going to have one bag of trash out on Thursday morning, and if it's not there, they're going to call somebody to find out why it isn't there. And I think that's a great thing that we have. So that's why I bring up who's having troubles and sickness in town, so that we can kind of keep an eye on them, neighbors looking after neighbors, and take care of everybody like that. Have I missed anybody that y'all know of? Okay. Do have some correspondence that we need to make y'all aware of tonight. We have an invitation to the second annual Light the Night Gala for Safe Home Systems, and that's October the 13th at the Masonic Theater.
I was going to say Freddie Bragdon, there was one.
Yeah, Freddie. I forgot about Freddie.
He's home. He's home.
He's home.
Yeah, sitting on the porch in the swing.
Saw him on the porch this morning, so I understand he's doing a lot better than he was.
He had therapy today, I can tell you that.
And I think this is just a night to support Safe Homes. Jerry, isn't that what that is? This next one, I guess this might have to do with Wendy here. So this comes from Ann Chandler at VML. It's in all the headlines all over the country. Public employees and their public officials are stealing public funds from localities. There is even a movie on Netflix documenting the theft of $53 million by a city employee in Dixon, Illinois. Several crime claims have been reported and paid through VML insurance programs within the last year. A few of our latest claims were not realized by the member, which would be the town, until there was no money left to pay bills, including their insurance premiums. Thefts occur by long-tenured and trusted employees, as well as through creative means such as the ordering of supplies through bogus companies. Currently, the town of Iron Gate does not carry crime coverage through VML insurance programs. As employee dishonesty is an increasingly real threat to local governments, we have provided a quotation for your review. If you have any questions or are interested in binding coverage, please let me know. Obviously, while this is possibly a real threat in localities, it's an attempt to sell insurance, is what it is. And the only reason that I bring it up tonight and present it to council and to the citizens in attendance tonight is because this small town, where you know everybody in town, has had an episode of this very thing happening to it several years ago. So I don't know if it's something that council would be interested in looking into. You know, they have three plans presented for, the first plan is up to $10,000 in coverage. It's $250 a year, and they go all the way up to $25,000 in coverage, and the premium for that is $792 a year. I don't know if it's something we need here. What do you think, Jared?
That's up to y'all. I mean, y'all know exactly what it is, exactly what it's gonna cover, so that's completely up to y'all. I mean, obviously, my advice would be more insurance is always better than less insurance, but again, that's totally up to y'all.
Any discussion on this?
With the way we audit, it definitely be something that we could look into and investigate more about. The way we audit, and as close as we audit, it'd be a question whether we need it or not.
And I agree with that. I mean, I think it's probably something that we can consider, you can consider. I don't think it's something you need to jump right into
No, we
tonight and look into it.
Because that's the way the other problem we had was dealt with, was through the audit.
And our auditors have been very complimentary of the changes that have been put in place recently to keep a handle on things and keep things above board. And Wendy, with her banking experience, nothing gets by her. Not a penny gets by her that she doesn't know where it's at. So I appreciate that too. Makes it a whole lot easier knowing you don't have to worry about it. And then the sheriff's report for July 22nd through August 8th, they worked 47 hours and they wrote a total of 34 summonses. And I didn't look through here, but most of them are speeding tickets, aren't they, Chris? And things like that. And the report's here. Wendy has it here at Town Hall. Anybody that wants to can come by and look at it anytime they want to. It's been a pretty remarkable month because I haven't had any calls about the playground at all. Jimmy, has it been quiet down there? And I haven't had any calls at all this summer about the river park. Have y'all?
I think there was one in July. A car was left over overnight, parked on the property, one of the neighbors called, but other than that, I don't know of any others.
So if we made it this far without any calls to the river park, we've had a good summer. And things are doing better down at this park, I think, in a large part because you stepped up your patrols down there. Okay. And I have one letter that I was asked to read tonight. It came email, I guess, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And it's from Jennifer Tyree. And it's it's not addressed to anybody. It just says, I would like to thank Mayor and Council for their concern for the citizens of Iron Gate. This concern of their well-being is shown by remembering those that are sick or those that have passed. By doing this, you show you are not all about business, but have compassion and caring in the truest sense. Tonight, I would like to remember Catherine Taylor, who passed away last week, and relay a request on her behalf. Many months ago, I, along with Catherine, were in attendance at a council meeting. At this meeting, council had went into closed session. At this time, we chatted about various things. This night, Catherine asked me, and she has quotation marks, why did town council stop saying a prayer before their meetings? End of quotations. I told her we used to say one, but through the years, I guess it just fell by the wayside. She said she was going to ask the mayor before the meeting, but he seemed busy. I told her to talk to the mayor. I was sure he would consider doing it again. I don't know if she ever did, and she didn't. She has not talked to me about this. With her passing, this conversation has been on my mind. So tonight, on behalf of Catherine, I ask council to consider having prayer before council meetings. I also believe that the Pledge of Allegiance should be said. Thank you for your consideration of Catherine's proposal, ! Jennifer Tyree. I mean, I don't, from a personal standpoint, I have no objection to either one of those items being incorporated. Obviously, for some reason it was stopped, and Richard, you've been up here longer than anybody. Can you share why that happened?
For a while, we did have it, had a prayer prior to the opening of the meeting.
Right.
That's why it's not part of the meeting. Since I've been on council, we've never said the pledge, which I have no objections to that. It would be something that that we definitely, both items is something that we definitely should consider.
Is there any legal reason for it not to be done?
I mean, I know Clifton does it. There are localities that do it. So it presumably can be done legally.
Okay. Is that something, Randy, how do you feel about it?
I'm fine with it, except for the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, I'm not against that, don't get me wrong. But I tell you right now, if everybody will kneel, go on outside, don't come in here until we done. I mean, that's the way I feel.
Jimmy?
I got no problem with it.
DR?
Yeah, I'm for it.
Anybody comments about this, requests?
I do think Randy raises the practical argument is that it is something that people feel strongly about and might be a distraction, depending on how it's perceived.
Well, and I mean, I can see that he made a very accurate point about the Pledge of Allegiance and people not standing to acknowledge the respect for that. But I think more, to be honest with you, what Catherine was interested in, and we never had this conversation, but I believe would have been the prayer at the opening of the meeting.
I mean, yeah, that's great.
Board of Supervisors does.
Okay. Well,
It seemed like to me at one time, didn't they have ministers? We invited ministers to come by or something or another
Yes.
to,
I know that's how the county does it.
the different ministers would come by and sing, and then I guess a couple nights went by, and I guess that's where it went
from there.
fell by the wayside.
There was a minister on town council that did it. There was a minister actually on town council that did it right before we convened back here. What's his name?
Bobby's,
Who is it?
was it Bobby Daniel?
Yeah, Jim Reese.
Jim Reeds.
Oh, Jim Reeves.
Bobby did. Bobby had prayer on occasion.
I do know the one clear rule is that if one type of prayer is allowed, any type of prayer has to be allowed.
Yeah, right.
And there can't be any picking and choosing of what prayer we're saying. It's open to everybody.
Well, I mean, that's what it should be. So,
Well, depending on who comes in and prays for what. And that's,
I understand what you're saying,
Okay.
but it's just like you can't pick and choose what you enforce and who you enforce it against. I mean, if you open the door, you gotta let whoever wants to pray, pray.
oh, that's right. Which is something to consider before opening that door.
Yeah.
I think that's what started all the problem to begin with.
Well, I mean, I'll ask for a motion under new business, and if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, we'll stay like we are.
When's the place for Do we get to comment or ask questions, or is that under new business?
I just said, anybody have any discussion?
Oh, sorry, you didn't look at me. Can we look at what other localities do, and is there a national precedent? Not that we have to be like everyone else, but
Well, I don't know about the national precedents, but Board of Supervisors has prayer before they start, right?
And pledge.
And
I think
Clifton
they have pledge too.
and Clifton Forge has prayer before they start. Does Covington? Jerry, do you know this Covington?
Covington has a minister give an invocation.
So it seems like we're probably the only locality in the area that's not having some type of prayer when we start the meeting.
that answers my question. Thank you.
Is there a separation between government and religion?
There definitely is. The question is how that's handled.
Yeah.
And I know that's why the bright line is if one person or faith is allowed to pray, everybody's allowed to pray. That's equal protection. So I guess my bottom line is that I don't think it's a decision to be made lightly. Is I guess where I'll leave it as my advice.
Any other questions, comments?
The one thing that I will mention is that the prayer was always held prior to the start of the meeting, rather before the opening of the meeting.
And I think that would have to be how it would be handled now if it was done, so.